Why isn't this nigga in jail? Now, see, that is a great question that me and you do not know. So that's why we're about to react to this video. Let's get straight into it. I'm Master Virgo. This is my live channel. Make sure you like and subscribe.
Now, updates keep pouring in about the David story, spelled D4vd, and so far we've learned that Celeste Rivas, a teenage girl, was found in the front trunk of an impounded Tesla registered to him. Within 48 hours, LAPD searched the Hollywood Hills home David was staying at and seized multiple devices. And now the internet's been asking a lot of questions, but the biggest one is, why hasn't David been arrested yet? And why is this process taking so long?
Facts.
I'm locked into finding out the truth about this case, and I'll be keeping you updated every step of the way. So let's break this one down together. By now, you've probably seen the headlines. Celeste Rivas, a teenage girl, was identified after her remains were found in the front trunk of a Tesla registered to popular singer David. The car had been towed to a Hollywood impound, and that's when staff noticed a foul odor, opened the front trunk, and made the discovery. Since then, detectives executed a search warrant at—
that's so stupid too. Like, what did you think was gonna happen? You thought you were just gonna put a dead body in a trunk, let the car get towed away, and nobody would notice the smell? What did he think was gonna happen? I just genuinely wonder what he thought. He could have drove out to the desert. I'm not saying I don't want him to get away with it, but like, you could have drove out to the desert at night, digged up a hole, put it in the hole. That would have been the end of it. You could have put it in a random forest, chopped up you already chopped up the body. You could put it what did you think was gonna happen by leaving it in a car? Did you just think niggas was gonna ignore a foul smell coming from your
Hollywood Hills home where he'd been staying at and seized electronics? Popular brands who partnered with David like Hollister for campaigns pulled back, and his world tour was also put on pause. And famous celebrities like Canadian singer Tate McRae distanced herself along with singer Kali Uchis. So let's get into it. Why hasn't David been arrested yet? And what's actually happening behind the scenes? Let me walk you through this step by step. Here's what we know so far.
The reason, I thought he was going to explain the legal reason. The legal reason, the same as on my channel. If you're subscribed, we watch crime videos. You notice if you watch those crime videos, whenever they have this suspect, even if it's low-key kind of obvious that he did it, until you have the right amount of evidence, you can't just arrest somebody because everybody's guilty until proven innocent. That's the American law. So normally what they do is they bring the suspect in for questioning. They'll let them lie. They'll let them tell their story, even if they know that doesn't line up with what they already know so far that happened that far in the case. And they'll continuously bring the suspect in on different days to not only kind of rock them to sleep, but also give them a chance to come clean. So that's why they haven't just outright arrested them, because they're still gathering evidence. And just because a dead body was found in his car, that doesn't necessarily mean he did it. Do we all think he did it? Yes, but that's not enough to prove it, right? So that's why he hasn't been arrested yet. The same as Roger Jackson, Rampage's son. He didn't fully get arrested as soon as it happened because they still had to gather evidence to see that this was actually an assault. This wasn't a part of the event. This wasn't planned. There's a whole legal proceeding before this.
According to the authorities, the Tesla was registered to David Burke, which is David's real name. The body inside was severely decomposed to the point where it's been difficult for the medical examiners to determine exactly what happened or how she died. Police also stated that the body had been in that Tesla for an extended period of time, though they did not specify exactly how long. In connection with this, we also know that the Tesla was towed to Hollywood Tow after it was reported abandoned. According to NBC Los Angeles, neighbors said the car had been parked there for more than a month before it was finally taken away. That explains why the smell was so overwhelming. When a body decomposes in a closed space like a car, gases build up and the odor is impossible to ignore. Believe it or not, that's actually one of the most common ways police discover remains in cases like this. We also know that Celeste Rivas was 14 at the time of her death. She would have turned 15 on September 7, 2025, but her body was found.
Yeah, she was already passed because they said the car was there for a month before it got towed. So that means she was in there for at least a month. Jesus, man.
That means that it was confirmed she died at 14, not 15. And just to clear something up, early on, the medical examiner's office listed her as 15, and that's what I was going off of in my initial coverage. In reality, that detail was off, so my apologies for repeating it before the correction came out. And shout out to everyone who caught that and corrected me. We keep each other accountable on here, and that's how it should be. Right. Now, the medical examiner office also confirmed how she was found. Celeste was wearing a tube top and small black leggings. She was described as having wavy black hair with a metal stud earring and a yellow metal chain bracelet. Something else I want to share with you is this. Even though the cause of death hasn't been released or determined yet because of the condition of the remains, one outlet, the Los Angeles Times, has reported that the authorities are treating it as a homicide. Now, to be clear, investigators still don't know who's responsible, but That's exactly what they're looking to uncover right now, and those answers will come out as the case develops.
Right.
And now let's get to the actual investigation and why David hasn't been.
Yo, this nigga, bro, Blackie speaks. Hold up, y'all. This nigga Blackie speaks because he's pretty much just saying everything he said in his last couple of videos about this. This nigga's trying to run up the bag off the situation, Blackies. You're not slick, little bro. Look at this. Look at this. Is there another one? No, I think that's it. I could have swore he made another David. No, he's just trying to run up the bag, bro. There's no way he just made another video to tell the exact same story. And Loki probably get more views this time or the same amount. Did I click off the video, y'all? Oh, it's still here. My fault, y'all. My fault.
Now, updates keep pouring in about the
And
David story. Up and small they're looking to uncover right now, and those answers will come out as the case develops. And now let's get to the actual investigation and why David hasn't been arrested yet. Within hours of Celeste being identified, LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division served a search warrant at a Hollywood Hills home where David had been staying. The home located at an upscale neighborhood on Doheny Drive, just north of Sunset Boulevard, Los Angeles. And
Right.
David actually doesn't own the property, but sources say detectives went in and walked out with computers and electronics. This was the first major sign that the police are actively digging into his world. So right now, there's obviously a connection between David and Celeste. Her mother, of course, confirmed she had a boyfriend named David, and people have pointed out things like the matching tattoos, and there's, of course, a bunch of photos of them together online that have surfaced along with...
That's just so sick, bro. You had a matching tattoo. You made a song about it after you killed her, and he was 19 and she was like what, 14 or 13. That's just so sick, bro. I I low key still can't even fully fathom it. I can see if he was like 19 and she was like 16. That's that's a little weird, but that's acceptable to a degree, kind of like 16 and 20. Even that's really pushing it. But how many 16-year-olds do we know with 20-year-old boyfriends? Like that, I can digest that because I've seen that enough. But like 20 years old and 14, what possibly could a 14-year-old offer you? And you can't say it's easy sex because you're a popular singer. There's already girls your age, older, around your age that already throw the buttons easy just off the strength of you having so much clout, being relevant, and having a bunch of money. So it's not like that's what he's looking for. It's not that he's looking for like a relationship where there's a power dynamic because again, he's the star, he's the catch. So he already is seen as the guy, like the person in the relationship, you know, that a person's lucky to have. So it's like this is just his own sick like kink. I think he has a kink for younger girls. That's what it's looking like. Because why would you? There's just no reason to do this at all.
A live stream clip. But here's the reality. Investigators are still trying to figure out just how deep that connection goes, and that's the part we don't know yet. On one hand, the Tesla was in fact registered to David, and her body was discovered inside. On the other hand, police sources have said it's one of several vehicles linked to David, and that multiple people had access to those cars at different times. If you don't understand what that means, basically most celebrities don't just, drive their own cars every single day. Their vehicles might be used by friends, family, staff, managers,
I would assume too he'd be being drived around too with him being an artist.
drivers, or borrowed for errands. So just because the car, the Tesla, was in David's name doesn't automatically prove that he was the one behind the wheel or the one who put Celeste there.
Right.
And that's where caution comes in, because detectives can't just rely on paperwork. They need hard proof. It's not enough to point to the registration. They need forensic evidence and a clear timeline that ties a specific person to that trunk.
I wonder, it might be too late to get him to maybe find fingerprints and stuff like that because it's been so long. But I don't know though too. We have seen those crimes. There's no way, because with a crime like this where he's such a high profile person, the LAPD or whatever with a homicide unit, they'd want to send a message. You know what I'm saying? So they're probably gonna have the best detectives working on something like this. But it's like, I'm pretty sure from some of the crime videos we saw, there was like a death that took place in an apartment. People cleaned the apartment, people changed the floor, and literally moved out, and some other people moved in. And a year later, they still were able to come back to that same apartment, and they like were able to peel the old floor, the new floor up. They were able to put this chemical on the like floor, and if it turned a certain color, they knew there was blood that was blood that was there. So I was like, what the fuck? So If it's only been less than a year or less than 6 months, they might, yeah, they probably be able to catch his ass with like physical evidence, no cap.
Without that, an arrest could fall apart in court. And that leads us to where the case stands right now.
Man, I hope this nigga don't beat it. He still got to get beat on like rape or something like that, right? For messing with a 13-year-old girl at 20. Or I mean at 19, close enough.
Now, at the stage, police are retracing Celeste's final days and digging through the devices they seized, because whatever is on those electronics could lay the foundation for where to look next. They're also patiently waiting on forensics to close the gaps, and that's what explains the silence. In order to build a case that holds up in court, every single detail has to line up. So what exactly are investigators zeroing in on? Two critical questions. Number one, the timeline of events. They need to figure out exactly when Celeste died. As of now, they only know it was an extended period of time.
Running and drumming are a lot.
They search for the two questions detectives ask, as we see all the time in crime videos, is how did you kill the person, and your motive. Why did you kill the person? Because based on your motive, that'll make your sentencing lighter or softer. So they just want to know how did he do it, or whoever he paid did it, and why did they do it? That's all.
Discovery, but the precise time of death has not been pinned down yet. Number two, they're trying to establish when her body was placed in the trunk and by whom.
No, guy. They want to know why. Motive. Because that makes it that much easier to retrace how it happened. If you can figure out how it happened, you can figure out why it happened. Vice versa.
Detail alone could make or break the case. And this is what complicates everything. Detectives don't know yet when the exact moment Celeste died was, or the exact moment her body ended up in that Tesla. Until those blanks are filled in, no arrest can stick. So
but it's like you're telling me the days, but well, I guess it's so fresh into the case. But you're telling me she wasn't talking to nobody or texting nobody the day that she died, the day before, the night before. Like she didn't text nobody where she was at or what she was doing at all. No, they can't retrace her number, or like she wasn't in contact with none of her friends at all. I genuinely like wonder, like, how in the fuck has nobody came out and said I talked to her the night before, the day before, or the day of?
Social media has been reacting to the fact that David hasn't been arrested yet, and yeah, there's been a lot of outrage. Some people are even saying that there must be some type of favoritism going on.
No,
like, is he paying somebody off, to still be out on the streets? But that's not really what's happening. According to the law, he is innocent until proven guilty, okay? And as of right now, we do know that he's been cooperating with the police. Now, that doesn't automatically clear him, because even guilty people can cooperate, but it does help his case if it turns out he wasn't involved in what happened to Celeste. Here's the bigger picture. Everything right now comes down to the medical examiner. Once the medical examiner officially rules this as a homicide and determines how Celeste died, then law enforcement can move forward with charges against whoever is responsible. Until then, it's very difficult for police to move on anyone, because the case wouldn't hold up in court. And David is of course connected to all this in some way, because Celeste was found in a Tesla registered to him. That's the fact tying him into the...
Like, how do you be that freaking stupid? I just don't get... If you're gonna do something like that, you have to be extremely like smart about it. Like, that is just stupid. Like, that's just retard levels of IQ, bro. Dude, you how do you kill somebody and then put their body in your own trunk and then just leave your trunk to be abandoned? You could at least put it in a different random abandoned car, but you instead put it in your own car and abandon. Why not take the body? Like, why not take it and drive and find some random garbage can, find some random abandoned car, and you could... I'm not even saying because I want him to get away, right? Let's get that straight. But I'm just saying, like, you're just a dummy, or you just think you're smarter than everybody. I'm saying this to like chastise him. You're a dummy. You're either just a dummy, or you just think you're smarter than everybody and nobody was going to figure out your plan, or like, I don't know just what the thought process was for this, but hey, I'd imagine killing somebody, once you realize what you did, you get really jittery and you... But now this nigga was at concerts singing and stuff like nothing even happened. So
investigation, but how deep that connection really goes is exactly what detectives are still working to figure out. And that's why this case feels like it's been moving slower than everyone expects. Since we're in the thick of it and everybody knows about it, everything has to be airtight here. But while the medical examiner's office does its work, the LAPD is currently going through the electronics they seized, so iPhones and MacBooks.
I wonder Because like how we see in the LAPD videos and all that, sometimes trials take a lot, same as YSL. Trials take, this is probably the biggest case of 2025 now. Trials take a lot longer whenever people don't confess and say they're guilty, because now you got to actually try them in court. But if they just admit to being guilty, you pretty much just go to court so they can get sentenced at that point. So I wonder, is he gonna give a confession? Is he gonna eventually break and say he's guilty, or is he gonna drag this shit out for like years, like a year? It's gonna be another YSL situation or a Diddy situation where they just drag this out in the media for really, really long, and they keep giving us random updates that have nothing to do with this nigga for real. I wonder. I wonder. What do y'all think? Y'all think he's gonna fold, or is he gonna break down the crime and be like, I killed her. I'm sorry. I didn't know. I didn't mean to. She was pregnant. And like, what do y'all? I think he low key. He low key looks like he'd crack too. He's a pretty boy. But yeah, man, that's sad situation, man.